Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Mercedes and this is the Frugal Life with Mercedes. So I boycott the 4th of July. Now I'm sure you guys are like, this girl does not like any holiday. And to be completely honest, most I could kind of take or leave, to be honest. But when I say I boycott 4th of July, I'm meaning specifically fireworks. I have not been to a fireworks show since 2013 or 2014. And that was because somewhere around there, I kind of just made the conscious decision that I was not comfortable with the amount of money that is put into firework displays for mere minutes, when that money should be put into the community to fix real problems that we have. Like, your town, your state, our country as a whole, the amount of money that is spent on fireworks is astronomical. And just to kind of give you guys a little baseline, a fireworks show that ranges from 10 to 20 minutes will cost a town or community anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000, roughly. And I don't know about you, but so my town will do fireworks, and the town 5 minutes down the road does their own fireworks, and the town 5 minutes down the other way does it, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And it's not really necessary, because honestly, what would really be best if they just one did it. Do you know what I mean? And I get you can't have everybody from the surrounding 10 towns congregate in one town, and I get that, and I'm sure logistically it's just insane. But around here, people are doing that. People are going to this town, this town, this town, this town, this town to do the fireworks because they, depending upon what day of the week it is, we have some towns that do it specifically on the 4th of July. We have others that do it on the 5th or whatever, and weather, all that. But I'm kind of getting off topic. So I intentionally boycott the 4th of July. Of course, I've gone to barbecues in these years that I've boycotted it, but my issue specifically is with the fireworks and the amount of money that goes into fireworks. I also follow the People's Union USA. I've discussed it before, and they are boycotting certain corporations and businesses and different things like that, and they are doing a 4th of July boycott. And of course, in the comments, there are people like, I haven't been to see, they're specifically saying fireworks, do not attend fireworks, go to a barbecue, hang out with your friends, but do not go to fireworks. And I know that might seem petty to some people, but it's a statement. If a town spent $7,000 or $20,000 or whatever on fireworks and nobody showed up, that would make a statement. Do you know what I mean? It would make a statement. And I can't get into the nuts and bolts of why the person that started the People's Union specifically said, don't go to fireworks. But that is my personal reason. Is I think the country as a whole has a mentality, their money mentality is very messed up. So when we talk about finances, usually people are talking about you and me, personal at home, but we emulate what we see. So if your town, your state, your country as a whole is mismanaging money, then we are emulating that. And the country is in an obscene amount of debt, and most people are in obscene amounts of debt. Of course, not the same as, I don't remember what the national debt is, trillion, quadrillion, whatever, you know what I mean? And so obviously a single person is not going to be in that kind of debt. But in relation to their status and their stature and their financial means to obtain, it is obscene what most people are in debt in. And I also kind of want to clarify, I don't feel like I should have to say this, but there's always people out there that are gonna, if I don't say this, then they're gonna be like, oh, see, I have no ill will or I don't mean any disrespect to the military specifically, people in the military, past, present, future. My boycott has nothing to do with that. Honestly, when it started, and like I said, 2013, 2014, I don't remember exactly. It literally, like, my partner at the time was like, hey, you want to go to the fireworks? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm not gonna go. I was like, it's too crowded. The town is spending money that money should go towards, something productive. And he's like, all right. And I think we watched a movie. I don't really remember, but it was like a non-issue. And it basically was like, I woke up that morning and was like, no, I'm not going anymore. I'm just not, like, out of principle. So it is kind of funny that now there's a huge group of people that are specifically boycotting fireworks. So, I have the utmost respect for the armed forces in general. So it has nothing to do with that, because if they didn't do what they're doing and the sacrifices that they make, I wouldn't have the freedoms that I have. And I'm talking about from the very start of our country. People were brave and stood up to tyranny and to a king, and basically they were like signing their own death warrant. Do you know what I mean? Like, treason for what they were doing to form our country. And I don't think people are putting enough thought into that, like how the country really started. Because I'm super into history, and I know people know the story, but it's like, if you stop and think about what those people did, like our founding fathers and the basically first armed forces that we had, it's pretty incredible when you think about it. And if we were in that same situation today, how many people really would do that? Now, people say that they would, but you know how that is. Like, you never really know unless you are in that situation. So my boycott has nothing to do with the military. It doesn't even have anything to do with any specific leadership. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me personally, no. Like, I just keep doing me. Like, it doesn't matter who's president. Like, once I decide I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it until things change. So when I feel like we're managing our money collectively better, and I don't mean like you and me, I mean like my town specifically, I don't think that they're managing their money well. My state, I don't think they're managing their money well. Our country is not managing their money well. And so I have all these little kind of like stances that I won't go past. And so it has nothing to do with like who's in charge and who's not in charge. But anyway, so you guys are going to have to do what you want to do, but I kind of thought it would be interesting to kind of say that, like, that's a pretty big thing going on right now, at least in the circles that I frequent, is to boycott the 4th of July, when really they mean the fireworks, because it would make a statement, and I've been doing that. So anyway, no one's ever asked me really about like the 4th of July. I guess nobody really thought to ask me about it. And anyway, so that's what I'm doing, and something's got to change. And I've been saying this in a lot of videos, but something has to change. I think that our government as a whole forget that they work for us. And again, I'm not talking this administration specifically. I'm saying all of them. I had a conversation with a friend of mine a few weeks back, and I told her, like, we've been having problems, like, since our inception as a country. And yes, all countries are going to have issues, but like, let's even say like 50 years ago, there was a lot of nonsense going on, or 60 years ago, or 40 years ago, or 20 years ago, or whatever it is. And I feel like our government is kind of like a small child. So when you have a child and you let them do whatever they want, say whatever they want, act however they want, they're allowed to hit their sister, they're allowed to, do whatever, there's no rules, then it's harder to stop the behavior once they become a teenager, because you haven't taught them properly. So the government is the same way. If we do not at some point say, like, hey, this is not okay, they're going to keep doing it. So what has happened? people do say like, hey, that's not okay, or they might get called out. And when I say do something about it, I don't mean anything violent. I just mean like we need to follow what the Constitution says and handle things according to that. And we need to vote, and we need to write our congressmen and our senators and cause a stink when people are not doing what they're supposed to do. Because if I'm the president and I get away with whatever, or if I'm a governor and I'm getting away with whatever, well, then the person that replaces me is going to be like, oh, well, Mercedes did this, so I can too. And then they up the ante. Do you know what I mean? So you guys take of that what you want. That's fine. But just kind of some thoughts on the 4th of July. And, you either get it or you don't get it, And I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything that they're not comfortable with. I'm not encouraging, like I said, anything bad. It's just a peaceful protest. You don't even have to tell anybody. Like if your friend's like, hey, you want to come to the fireworks with us? No, that's okay. I'm going to stay home tonight. Okay. You don't even have to make a big stink about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that many people know that I boycott it, to be honest, because I don't think I've ever even said that out loud, but really, like, except for maybe the first time that it happened. But anyway, okay guys, so thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, bye.